This isn't just Chappelle clowning on Kobe and OJ. It's a sharp commentary on how America builds black celebrities up only to tear them down. That rise and fall is what gives this joke its edge. But what do you think? Is he pushing comedy too far or just exposing reality?
This is the worst time in history to be a black celebrity. They locking all our stars up. It's hot right now for black celebrities. I knew it was bad when Kobe got in trouble. I said, this is a wrap for us. He's one of the most wholesome dudes we had. Kobe kept it together. Thank God he held his game together, because if he was cracking under pressure and getting like 6 points a game, the whole LA would have been like, that nigger is guilty. Kobe was playing his ass off. He was playing like his freedom depended on that shit. You see that motherfucker in them games, this nigga's trying to beat that case on the court. Like the judge threw him the ball, like, play for your freedom. If I could talk to Kobe, I'd be like, just relax, you'll be fine, man. Because the public is still giving Kobe the benefit of the doubt. He's one of the few black celebrities that get that. Not because he's a celebrity, more because, you know, the girl showed up with 8 different semens to the investigation. You can't do that. That's 7 too many. That's a lot of semen, man. This bitch got Noah's Ark in her panties. Like, what, you trying to recreate humanity or something? She's a collector. She got every unsolved mystery. The answer might be in this girl's paint. That's the first place I look. OJ's other glove is in there. Bigfoot's footprint. 3 CSI reruns is in that motherfucker. We got the most diabolical draws ever. Fuck being a celebrity. This is not the time to be a black star. They locking all our stars up. Black celebrities, this is a witch hunt for us, man. God damn it. It's all OJ's fault. Ever since OJ got away, white people have just been locking up our stars one by one. It's true. And it's not even OJ's fault. It's our fault. We celebrated too openly when OJ got acquitted. We should have been quiet about that shit. As soon as they're not guilty, it was just damn. Oh, in your face, in your face. It hurts, don't it? It hurts. Burns, doesn't it? Ooh, that justice system burns, doesn't it? Welcome to my world, motherfucker, all that shit. White people wanted OJ's. It's bad. City of LA spent over $12 million just trying that motherfucker. And the look on network television, they have a department that's called Standards and Practices. This is the department that tells you what you can and cannot say on television. And if you're doing your job well, you should never hear from them. But if you're making a Chappelle show, you'll hear from these motherfuckers all the time. And remember, this is 15 years ago. I made a mistake. I didn't even know I had done anything wrong. I had written a sketch that had the word faggot in it. So I had to go to Standards and Practices. They call me up. I don't know why they're calling me, but I like the lady that runs the department. She's usually really fair, and it was one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. So she sits me down. We have a nice conversation. She tells me, oh, the sketches are great. I go, oh, fantastic. Well, then why am I here? She said, because, David, there's no way that you can ever say the word faggot on our network. I didn't know I did anything wrong. I didn't try to defend myself. I said, all right, I'll take it out. Have a good afternoon. And as I was leaving, it occurred to me, hey, Renee, quick question. It's just a question. Seriously, I want to know, like, why is it that I can say the word nigger with impunity, but I can't say the word faggot? And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either.
This is Dave Chappelle turning what could have been just an awkward dance in LA into a bigger punchline about privilege and race.
My problem has never been with transgender people. My problem has always been with the dialogue about transgender people. I just feel like these things should not be discussed in front of the blacks. It's fucking insulting, all this talk about how these people feel inside. Since when has America given a fuck how any of us feel inside? And I cannot shake this awful suspicion that the only reason everybody is talking about transgenders is because white men want to do it. That's right. I just said that. If it was just women that felt that way, or black dudes and Mexican dudes being like, hey, y'all, we feel like girls inside, they'd be like, shut up, nigger. No one asked you how you felt. Come on, everybody, we have strawberries to pick. It reeks of white privilege. You never asked yourself why it was easier for Bruce Jenner to change his gender than it was for Cassius Clay to change his fucking name? And if I were to be brutally honest, the only reason I ever been mad at the transgender community is because I was at a club in LA and danced with one of these niggas for 6 songs straight. I had no idea. And then the lights came up and I saw them knuckles. I said, oh no! And everybody was laughing at me, hi, world star. I said, why didn't you say anything? Then I heard that sultry voice. I didn't say anything, Dave Chappelle, because I was having a wonderful time, and I wasn't sure how you'd feel about it. I said, you knew how I'd feel. And she said, I'm going home. I don't want any trouble from you. I said, home, it's only 2 songs left. I mean, we might as well finish the night. And we ended up having breakfast together. Oh, grow up, that doesn't make me gay. I just those titties are as real as any titties in LA. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, I was just borrowing a little friction from a stranger. Whoops!
It starts with a news anchor asking Ja Rule about 9/11 and ends with Chappelle telling kids in the ghetto how to make it. Along the way, he rips apart celebrity worship and exposes why we trust fame over truth. This isn't just comedy, it's a reality check. Did he go too far?
Stop worshiping celebrities so much. Just don't listen, don't pay attention. I remember right around September 11th, Ja Rule was on MTV. That's what they said. We got Ja Rule on the phone. Let's see what Ja's thoughts are on this tragedy. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? This is ridiculous. I don't want to dance. I'm scared to death. I want some answers that Ja Rule might not have right now. I think when bad shit happens to me, I'll be in the crib like, oh my God, this is terrible. Could somebody please find Ja Rule, get hold of this motherfucker so I can make sense of all this. Where is Ja? I don't even know why people listen to me. I'll say anything. I've done commercials for Coke and Pepsi. I don't give a fuck what comes out of my mouth. I just say what it takes. Whatever it takes, that's what I'm saying. If you want to know the truth, can't even taste the difference. Surprise! All I know is Pepsi paid me most recently, so tastes better. It's pretty much how the game goes. I'm just being real, man. There's too much goo-gagging over celebrities. People don't know what's fake and what's real anymore. That's why Bill Cosby got in trouble. Look what happened to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby said some real shit and the whole world freaked out on him. For what? For having an opinion? Just because he was selling pudding pops for the last 40 years, people forget that he's a nigga from Philly in the projects, and he might say some real shit from time to time. It's not that big of a deal. I spoke at my old high school, and I told them kids straight up, if you guys are serious about making it out of this ghetto, you gotta focus, you gotta stop blaming white people for your problems, and you've gotta learn how to rap or play basketball or something. You're trapped. You are trapped. Either do that or sell crack. That's your only options. That's the only way I've ever seen it work. You better get to entertaining these white people. Get to dancing. Go on out there and be somebody. I just hope they listen. This shit is ridiculous. People worship television. They worship this shit. You know, like if you watch a movie, right? Say you're watching a movie and one character says to another character, say, hey, what's your number, man? What's the other character always say? 555, 5555. You know why we gotta do that? Because stupid ass people go to the movies and then go home and try to call the characters that they just saw. Hello, is Indiana Jones here? No, motherfucker, he's fake. It's not his number.
This isn't just about food or sex. It's a raw take on temptation, identity, and what we're willing to compromise under pressure. Dave's not excusing it, he's exposing it. But be honest, would you have walked away?
If I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and for some reason everyone behind the counter had a Ku Klux Klan hood on top of their head, what do you think I'm gonna do in this day and age? Run out Kentucky Fried Chicken? Not if I'm hungry. I'll go straight to the front. Hey man, let me get a 2-piece. I don't give a fuck what he says. You want a biscuit with that, nigger? I thought it came with a biscuit. What's all this attitude? I want a 2-piece. Chop, chop. You know what it is. But I'm not gonna be mad. Why would I be mad? He's the one that's gotta work at Kentucky Fried Chicken, not me. What if I lived in Austin and I had a white girlfriend? It's possible in Austin. As a matter of fact, some people say it's necessary, but that's not the point. Me and my white girlfriend at home one night and we're just doing what lovers do. Maybe she's butt naked and she's down on one knee giving me a hand job. I love a good hand job. And she's really jerking me off. You know, getting her obliques nice and tight. I got a huge dick, so she's like, And I'm like, wow, this really feels wonderful. I think I'm gonna come. And then she looks up at me and goes, come in my face, nigger. I know, that's a tough one. But what do you think I'm gonna do? Hey! That's no time for integrity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm busting that nut.
Watch how Dave Chappelle revisits his roughest childhood memories and finds humor, pain, and unexpected wisdom that only a father could give.
If you're in a group that I made fun of, then just know that I probably will only make fun of you if I see myself in you. I make fun of poor white people because I was once poor. And I know that the only difference between a poor black person and a poor white person is that a poor white person feels like it's not supposed to be happening to them. I know what it's like to have a cold house. I wasn't allowed to touch the thermostat growing up without asking my father. And it would be fucking freezing in the house. I'd be like, Dad, please, can I please just turn the heat up to like, I don't know, 32? Nigga, it's really cold. And my dad would say, just put more clothes on, David. Got all three of my outfits on. Nigga. When you look at me, I'm freezing up here. And he said, just don't think about how cold you are, David. And I said this, I didn't say it to him, but I said it in front of him so he could hear it. I said, I fucking hate being poor. And my dad got really upset. He didn't scream or holler, that wasn't his way. He just threw his newspaper on the floor and he said, David, 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 you are not poor. He said, poor is a mentality. He said it's a mentality that very few people ever recover from. Don't you forget it, son. You are broke. He said, these are just financial circumstances that I hope to overcome one day very soon. And I said, well, Dad, whatever you want to call this, it's wildly uncomfortable. There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh. Sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? Wish I found some way out of this hell. Do anything to not be poor. I will show Michael Jackson my goodness if I get a chance.
Watch how Dave Chappelle tears apart Juicy Smouillet's late-night Subway sandwich story and somehow makes the truth even funnier than the lie.
Juicy Smouillet is a very famous French actor, and he became famous on a show called Empire. He was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Juicy Smouillet is gay and he is black, not just French. Apparently, when he was walking down the street late at night, two white men came out of the shadows with MAGA hats on and beat him up, tied a rope around his neck, called him all kinds of niggas, and put some bleach on him and ran off into the night. This shit was like international news, and everybody was furious, especially in Hollywood. It's all over everybody's Twitter feed and Instagram page. Justice for Juicy and all this shit. The whole country was up in arms. It was talking about it all the time on the news. And for some reason, African Americans, we were like oddly quiet. We were so quiet about this shit that the gay community started accusing African American community of being homophobic for not supporting him. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence, because we understood that this nigga was clearly lying.
This isn't just a shocking joke. It's Dave exploring how people respond to change, identity, and the fear of losing control. Is this comedy or a deeper truth about masculinity and transition?
Transgenders are gangsters. I used to do business with a transgender in Hollywood. Man, everybody would be scared of her in the boardroom. She walk in there, newly minted woman, high heels, purse. Wouldn't say anything to us, just walk around the conference table looking mean as shit. Then she walked to the head of the conference table, stare at us all, reach in the purse, pull her old dick out and throw it on the table. Let's talk business, gentlemen. Ah! Shit is scary as fuck. If your best friend pitched that to you, you'd be horrified. Yo, nigga, let's go to the hospital and cut our dicks off and make pussies out of them shits. What? Can't we just get matching jackets or tattoos or something? Sure, that's what you want to do? There's only one way to find out. Wu-Tang! Bow! Bow! Let's go to the club and trick niggas into fucking us, yeah.
This isn't just a joke about doctors. It's a deeper jab at desire, professionalism, and the blurred lines between trust and temptation. Dave's not just being crude. He's asking who really belongs in the room. What do you think? Too far or finally honest?
You know, it's illegal for a gynecologist to say the word pussy. They can only say vagina, or they can name individual parts medically, but they can never say shorthand, even if the gynecologist is a woman. I feel like if it's a woman gynecologist, it's cool. Like, am I all right? And she'd be like, girl, that pussy is. I don't think men should be allowed to be gynecologists. That shit is a conflict of interest. Even when my wife was pregnant, we used to go to the gynecologist. And he put her legs up in that stirrup like this. He'd be like, all right, Miss Chappelle, just try to relax. I push it back up, motherfucker, I got this. Just tell me what to look for. One of those home-style checkups. There's too many ethical questions when men do that. Like, can a gynecologist lose their license for smelling their fingers during an exam? Is that illegal? How could they not? These are men. It's like if you have a good barbecue, you don't even think about it. You just...
This joke isn't just about ditching Flint. It's Dave exposing how fame can twist loyalty, blur values, and trigger public judgment. Would you have stood your ground or folded too?
I'm happy really to see black people come. You know, a lot of black people don't fuck with me like they used to. But there's a lot of reasons. There's a few reasons you don't see black people at my shows. One is because obviously black people have slower internet connections. I mean, that would be my guess. I don't know what... Actually, my own actions drew a wedge between me and the community I hold so dear. A couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to be in Flint, Michigan for a charity benefit that was supposed to raise awareness for the appalling condition of the water in Flint. I don't know if you know this, but the water in Flint is fucking poisonous. It's actually making people sick. I mean, Hollywood people like, so what? At least they have water. But this water's fucked up. So a lot of black celebrities flew into Flint, and they did a tremendous charity benefit. And I was on the schedule to appear. So the reason a lot of people haven't heard about this benefit, it was the same day as the Oscars. I was on my way to the airport to go to Flint, and then Chris Rock calls me and is like, hey, Dave, I got a ticket for you for the Oscars. Can you make it? And I was like, sure, I'm on my way to the airport right now. Oh, come on, man. What am I going to do about that water? What am I, a fucking superhero? I need to have fun. I need to live, too. I didn't fuck that water up. Stevie Wonder was there. They didn't need me. I've never been to the Oscars. You've seen the movies I make. I was excited as fuck. I knew I was going to get in some trouble because when I was walking in the red carpet, the black press came after me. Excuse me, brother. When you hear somebody call you brother too much, something terrible's about to happen. Excuse me, brother. And then I looked back, and the motherfucker had a tuxedo with the kente cloth tie. I said, uh-oh. He said, I just want to ask you a couple questions. I said, what publication are you with? He said, me, I'm with the Daily Bongo. I said, Daily Bongo? What the fuck? Who the fuck reads this? He said, listen, brother, I just want to ask you a quick question. You understand that this year, this is a boycott for the Oscars, so I'm just wondering what made you, of all people, cross the motherfucking picket line and be here tonight. I said, boycott? I haven't been working in 10 years. What do you mean boycott? I've been on strike. Y'all niggas didn't stop working. I had to watch fucking Key and Peele do my show every night.
This isn't just a history joke, it's Dave's wild take on how war, gender roles, and economic power reshaped women forever. It's hilarious but also uncomfortably real, so what do you think? Is he exposing truth or just poking the bear?
Back when we were growing up, only black people were mad. Now, everybody's just trying to get in on the act. I try to think to myself, well, when did everyone get mad? And then I realized this happened before we were born. This is a long way to go, but probably started in the Second World War. Think about it. All these black men, millions of black men, leave the United States for the first time, go over to Europe with America's armed forces and fight the Nazis and make more money fighting Nazis than they ever dreamed they would make in the United States. And a lot of those men, while they were in Europe, just to be real, not to be crass, a lot of them probably got their dick sucked by white women. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this was World War II Europe, and these were desperate times, and penises were being sucked for shoelaces and chocolate and very frivolous things. And it's very hard to come back to America and sit on the back of the bus after you've been in the south of France getting your dick sucked for a Crunch Bar or some crazy shit like that. That's a life-changing experience. And while that was happening in Europe, here in America, for the first time, women entered the workforce en masse by the millions. All the men were gone. Someone had to run the factory. The ladies did it. This was the first generation of American women to have independent income in mass. And when the men came back, the women weren't the same. American women had grown. They were uttering phrases that no woman on earth had ever spoken before. Things like no and shut the fuck up and I don't feel like it.
This isn't just a joke about an old friend coming out. It's a deeper look at how masculinity, memory, and discomfort collide. Dave isn't mocking. He's navigating something real. But did he cross the line or just say what others won't?
Well, I had a friend from high school. Now, in high school, this guy was a thug, right? He was a fucking dope boy. He did it all. He's a wild dude. People used to be very scared of him. And then after high school, word on the street was he'd come out the closet. I personally didn't believe him. I bring him up because last year, he calls me out of the blue like, yo, what's up, man? I got your number from so-and-so, and I heard you're gonna be in New York doing a show. Could I get some tickets? I was like, fuck yeah, get some tickets, man. How you been? He said, well, we'll catch up at the show, man, but yo, I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. I said, all right, man, take care. And I was about to hang up, and I couldn't resist. I was just like, hey, I heard you was gay. What's going on with that? And I wish I didn't ask, because he sounded like he was dying to talk about that shit. And he had a long story about it. And it's not that I didn't care, but I was, I don't like talking on the phone. I was watching TV at the same time. So I just wasn't really paying attention like I should. But I was trying to sound supportive, but I didn't really know what to say. So I was just like mumbling throughout this conversation. I was just like, you gay, man. You just gay. Like, this went on for a while. And then finally I had to say something like definitive to get him off the phone. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? Don't let people get you down, all right? And the next time someone tries to make you feel bad about yourself, just remember, everybody fucks funny to somebody. He didn't like that shit. He's like, what the fuck does that mean? I said, huh? He said, you saying I'm funny, motherfucker? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying everybody's different. He said, you ain't say different. You said funny. What's so fucking funny about the way I fuck? And I said, hey, man, I fuck feet. He said, what? Oh, this is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. I get women to squeeze their feet together like this, and I fuck them right in that little space in their feet. But you can't build a community behind that shit. There's no flag for us. That shit made him laugh. And the next day, after the show, I saw him backstage. He was like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? And he had his buddy with him. He goes, Dave, I want you to meet Manuel. Manuel's my fiance. We're in New York getting married because it's legal here. I said, well, congratulations, fellas. And Manuel was like, gracias. And he went to go get some drinks. And then my buddy looked at me. He was like, so, Dave, what do you think? And I started mumbling again. You're gay, you're just gay. I said, yeah, I'm a little nervous about getting married, man. It's a big step. I said, yeah, it is. It's a big step. He said, well, you've been married for a while. You got any advice for us? No, I'm married to a woman. Sorry about that. And he corrected me. He said, no, you married the person that you love. So it's essentially the same. I said, man, the problem with that statement is that it makes the assumption that I love her.
This isn't just a heckler moment. It's Dave pushing into the raw tension between race, gender, and who gets to speak on pain. He jokes, she snaps. But was he crossing a line or just exposing one?
And I was on stage not too long ago. I was in Syracuse, New York. Yeah, for Syracuse, but the show didn't go so good. All because I was talking about Bill Cosby a little bit. Not a little bit, I'll be honest. Talked about him for like maybe 25 minutes. And a woman stood up in the back of the room and she screamed out, you are a fucking asshole for saying these things. Instantly, I felt, like bad. Not bad about what I was saying. I just felt bad, like, oh, that's too bad she doesn't like the show. I didn't realize it at first. But not only did she say that, she was rushing the stage. By the time I just saw this shadowy figure fucking charging up the aisle towards me in full fight mode. I was horrified. I said, oh my God, I'm gonna kick this bitch in the face. Lucky for me, I didn't have to. Security tackled her, but it was a really fucking horrifying scene. Scuffle ensued, and then, finally, she screamed out to me, women suffer. I said, I know. And ladies, I need you to know that I know. I need you to know, seriously, there's a lot of men in this room that identify themselves as feminists. I would include myself in that. Don't ever forget, we all have mothers and daughters and sisters and wives, and we want to see all these women do well and not be held back by their gender. There's a lot of men like that in this room. There's a lot of men like that in the world, or as we are known on the streets, bitch ass niggas. But as this woman was wrestling and screaming at me, I started to take offense. And I'm gonna be honest, race was involved. She was a young white woman, well-intentioned, but it's like not thinking it all the way through. How the fuck are you going to yell at a black man about discrimination? She didn't get it. She just kept going. Women suffer. I know. Women suffer. Same team. Women suffer. I know. And this is where she went too far. We suffer just like you. Slow your roll, bitch. You suffer, yes, but not like me. Not like us. She goes, suffering is suffering. What's the difference? I said, come on, white woman, you know what it is. You was in on the heist. You just don't like your cut.
This story isn't just funny. It's Dave Chappelle wrestling with violence, parenting, and how honesty can go hilariously wrong. But here's the twist. Is his son's brutal logic a sign of bad parenting or perfect parenting?
So imagine my surprise when I go to pick my son up and the teacher is waiting outside for me. She's just standing right there in the middle of the fucking handicap space. I knew something was wrong, so I rolled the window down like, hey, what's going on? Hi, David, can we talk to you for a minute in the office? I said, no, fuck that, we gotta talk right here. What's going on? I knew it was bad. Ibrahim had a fight. I said, a fight? Don't worry, everyone's okay. I said, everyone? What happened? Well, that's it. We don't know what happened because he won't talk to anybody. All we know is that he punched Sarah Jr. in the face. I said, oh no. Sarah's one of the only parents I'm not sure I can beat up in this school. Just in case Sarah pulled up to pick up their daughter. And then we all had to go into the office. And I was really worried because I didn't want them to kick me out of the school. And then they brought my son in and he was crying. They brought him in like a prisoner. He was like, oh. I said, son, just stop crying, calm down. Do not look at these mean faces. I need you to look at my face. And I need you to tell me the truth, buddy. All right? Just tell me the truth. Is it true? Did you punch that girl, Sarah Jr., in the face? I was trying to give him a signal to lie, but he didn't pick up on it. I was like... He wasn't paying attention. He said, yes, Daddy, I punched her face. I said, oh, my God. Why? Why would you do that? You're not supposed to put your hands on anybody. And his answer was so gangster, it scared all the parents in the room. He was like, because she had it coming. I said,
This is how Dave Chappelle turns getting left out of Diddy's wild parties into pure comedy, exposing the paranoia and self-doubt behind the joke.
Did you know anything about those golf parties? I'd be like, nah, man, I didn't know anything about golf. And they all look at me like, and they'd be like, well, how are these people you know was at golf, but you're the only one that wasn't at golf? And I thought about it for a minute. I said, oh, my God, I'm ugly. That's a tough way to find that out. Can you imagine if you were me reading the newspaper and found out everyone in Hollywood had an orgy behind your back? Like, none of y'all called me? Well, that really hurts. I'm glad they didn't call me, though, because the stories that come out about it are crazy. I saw one thing on the internet, so I'm not sure this is true. Probably doubt it's true. But I saw it. Some guy who said he knew Puff was like, yeah, man. He's like, I was at the golf one time and I went in the back room and Puff was in there with Carl Winslow, with Dad from Family Matters. He was smashing. And I was like, Puff, what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, it feels good to make another man do your bidding. And I was like, oh my God. Carl Winslow from Family Matters was there and I wasn't invited? It's worse than I thought. Or maybe I'm not ugly. Look at my face. This is not necessarily a handsome face, but it's not an ugly face. But if you really study my face clearly, I have snitch energy. Oh, I look like I'll tell. The last thing you want to see the orgy is me across the room looking at you like, you watching at home, you might not be famous, but I bet you ain't perfect. Nobody is perfect. The idea is, as you live your life, you're supposed to evolve and grow past your mistakes. But if you get to be 55, and Puff is 55. He doesn't look old, but he's paying half price at the movies. Ain't nothing wrong getting older, but if you 55 and you got 1,000 bottles of baby oil in the house, clearly, can't stop, won't stop. Because I'm 51, and I'm telling you, this is true. I can't remember a single time I ever threw an empty bottle of baby oil in the trash. I don't think I've ever finished a bottle of baby oil in my life. If we went to my mother's house tonight, she probably got the same baby oil we had when I was a little boy with the pink top, and somehow Puffy was all the way down to the last.
Dave Chappelle tears into Trump's plan to bring Chinese jobs and coal to America, and you won't believe how he breaks it down.
All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. Like he doesn't think these things through before he tells us. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit was nuts. I'm gonna go to China and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. What is he thinking? I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them. What the are you doing? Stop trying to give us Chinese jobs. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a pump of coal. I honestly don't even even know what coal is for. If you're gonna have digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles. That's what I'm about. President of Taiwan called Donald Trump to congratulate him. And Donald Trump, of course, took the call and talked to the president of Taiwan. Problem with that was Taiwan doesn't have a president. The United States functions on what they call a one China policy, and Taiwan is a renegade province of said China. And Donald Trump didn't know that and picked up the phone and started yammering away, and the media ate his ass up. And I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing like, oh, this dumb motherfucker is in trouble. And then that night, I was in bed drifting off to sleep, and then I had to admit it to myself. I was like, I didn't know that shit either. Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years, and this has 2 new cases. And if you haven't watched that documentary, then I'm begging you, don't watch it. It's fucking gross. I felt like HBO was sticking baby dicks in my ears for 4 hours straight. Really nasty shit. I don't want to know all these things. Turns out, Michael Jackson allegedly likes a long gander at the ass. They said he stares at people's holes. That's what they said. That's how gross the documentary was. I'm gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say, but I gotta be real. I don't believe these motherfuckers. I do not believe it. But let me qualify the statement. I am what's known on the streets as a victim blamer. You know what I mean? If somebody come up to me like, Dave, Chris Brown just beat up Rihanna. I'll be like, well, what did she do? I was doing a show in Detroit, and I'm sitting backstage in my dressing room. A friend of mine comes by, this chick, Dream Hampton. Dream tells me, right before I'm going on stage, she goes, Dave, I'm working on a documentary about R. Kelly. Would you like to be in it? And I was like, nah, bitch, I'm cool. I went on stage, I just forgot about the shit. And then 2 years later, the documentary comes out, Surviving R. Kelly. And when it comes out, Dream's promoting it, and she keeps bringing me up. She said, I asked Dave Chappelle to be in my documentary, and he said it was too hot for TV. I did not say that. It does not even sound like how I talk. Oh, that's too hot for TV? I would never say that shit. But I'm gonna tell you guys why I wasn't in the documentary. It's a very simple reason, and I cannot stress this point enough. The only reason that I didn't do it was because, and it's very important, I don't know this nigga at all. I don't know anything. I don't know anything that they don't tell me about. I don't hang out with this nigga, nothing. How's school going, boys? And my sons tell me, well, we didn't have school today, technically. I'm like, well, what's going on? He said, well, there was like a school shooting drill. They have drills that they make kids do where they practice what to do if somebody comes up their school. I'd never heard that before. I was like, what the fuck? Then I had to tell my sons the truth. I didn't want to tell them this shit. Son, listen to me. Fuck that drill. If somebody comes to your school and wants to shoot it up, I'm just going to be honest with you. You probably going to get shot. I'm just being real. You got a famous dad. I talk a lot of shit. They're going to be gunning for you, little buddy. Just stay low and run in the zigzag pattern, and don't try to save anybody, son. Do you understand me? Why would you have kids rehearse for some shit they have no control over? All you're doing is training these kids to worry. It's the stupidest drill I've ever heard of. And while you're in there training them during these drills, well, aren't you training the shooter too? This nigga's in here listening and learning like the other kids. Sitting in the back, where are we supposed to meet? And I said, shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Before I kill you and put you in the trunk. Ain't nobody around here. A couple years ago, I was in Ohio at a shopping mall. An old white lady, this is true, she was following me around the mall, which sounds paranoid, but I'm sure she was following me. Mean lady, too. You ever see a woman with lines on her face that just tell you, like, even if she smiled, it looked like it would hurt? I knew she was following me because she was at places that had nothing to do with her. I'd be looking around like, what is this old bitch doing in GameStop and Foot Locker and all the places I like to go? Every time I see her, she just be looking at me on me. And eventually, I forgot about her. So then after I'm shopping, I go all the way to the back of the parking lot. I'm parked all the way in the back. And as soon as I open my car door, I hear a voice go, David Chappelle. I didn't even have to look. I knew it was her. And I looked back, and sure enough, there she was, that face. To be honest with you, she probably wasn't even that old. She's probably around my age. But she was a white woman. This bitch looked terrible. Kept my cool. I was nice. I said, hello, miss. And she didn't say anything back. All she said was, I watch your comedy. I said, uh-oh. And then she says, it's true. She goes, Sounds to me like you hate women. I said, well, you know what, miss? It's art. And you're free to interpret this art however you'd like. But I can tell you, as the maker of this art, that I don't believe that I feel that way. And she said, well, I think they have a department that's called Standards and Practices. This is the department that tells you what you can and cannot say on television. And if you're doing your job well, you should never hear from them. But if you're making a Chappelle show, you'll hear from these motherfuckers all the time. And remember, this was 15 years ago. I made a mistake. I didn't even know I had done anything wrong. I had written a sketch that had the word in it. So I had to go to Standards and Practices. They call me up. I don't know why they're calling me, but I like the lady that runs the department. She's usually really fair and was one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. So she sits me down. We have a nice conversation. She tells me, oh, the sketches are great. I go, oh, fantastic. Well, then why am I here? She said, because, David, there's no way that you can ever say the word it on our network. I didn't know I did anything wrong. I didn't try to defend myself. I said, all right, I'll take it out. Have a good afternoon. And as I was leaving, it occurred to me, hey, Renee, quick question. It's just a question. Seriously, I want to know, like, why is it that I can say the word nigger with impunity, but I can't say the word f***ing? And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either. What I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's. People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's. But the T's hate my fucking guts. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault, it's mine. I can't stop telling jokes about these. I don't want to write these jokes, but I just can't stop. She said, my people have struggled for decades, honey. Decades. And I looked at them black dudes like, is there anything you niggas need to tell this bitch? Clifford. I'm exaggerating. She's actually a very nice person, and I'm cool with her now, but boy, that shit got on my nerves. And it got on my nerves because whenever someone says that to me, I know they've never seen me for themselves. They just repeat what they've heard. Any of you who have ever watched me know that I have never had a problem with transgender people. If you listen to what I'm saying, clearly, my problem has always been with white people. I have been arguing with the whites my entire career. Just when I thought I had you guys on the ropes, you changed all the rules. Oh, yeah? Yeah, motherfucker. Well, I'm a girl now, nigger, and you must treat me as such. Call me a girl, nigger. Hey, y'all, let's all go to the strip club and get our dicks hard together as a group of friends. Drive home in a quiet car and not talk about any of the things we've seen or done. No, I go by myself. But my wife doesn't understand why I go to the strip club. It has nothing to do with sex, you understand? I need a pinch of sexual energy in a room to relax, but it's more about being out. I like the music. A few chicks in there, it just makes you feel good, but I'm not trying to like socialize or meet anybody. You know, sometimes I go to the strip club and I bring a book. I do, and I sit right by the stage because the reading light is better. One time I went to a strip club, and this is weird. I don't know why, the stripper, for some reason, told me her real name. She didn't understand. She was like, where are you going? I was like, good night, Deborah. God bless her, but my wife is mistaken about my life. She told me once she thinks my job is fun. My job is a job. I'm fun. If I was white and the people in this town were black, you know what they'd say? They would say I was gentrifying the town. But there's no word for what I'm doing to these people. I own everything. Everything. I used to be mad at white people when I was young because I thought they were unfair. But now that I have all this property, I understand them. It's fun. Feels good to walk up to white people like, are you supposed to be here? calling the police. It's fun. I own so much property in this town, and this is true. These white people think I'm responsible for their well-being. That's ridiculous. I'm not no public servant. I'm a capitalist. I be walking down the street minding my own business, and they come up to me with their concerns. Dave, congratulations on buying the whole goddamn town. But you need to start thinking about some affordable housing around here. And I'd be like, well, actually, champ, I can afford my house. That sounds like some shit you need to worry about. Because if I think about it, I can afford your house too. So if you want to sell, come holler at your boy. I'm collecting the whole town. I'm collecting the whole goddamn town. I'm in a totally different bar. And this bar, trust me, it's not a nice place. It's foul. It's one of those bars where the top shelf should be under the sink. This is where the poor whites drink, tiki torch whites. You know what I mean? Them white people, they believe in Q and they love Trump. You know what I mean? Like Michigan white people. I remember I was at this bar one time. This is that kind of bar it is. I was in there one time, I was fucked up. And I turned around to everybody in the bar, I go, hey everybody, I'm gonna buy everyone in the bar around the drinks. And all my was like, hoorah! And the bartender knew I was drunk, so she pulled me aside. Mr. Chappelle, are you sure about that? That's going to be $16. Tough time for the whites. And this was a holiday weekend, you know what I mean? These motherfuckers was having a rootin' tootin' time. They was in there partying, making all them noises. Woo! Ow! Yow! You know all them noises white people make before lynching? The first time I met O.J. Simpson was right after the trial of the century. I had done a show, and then a guy from the club came up and was like, hey, O.J. Simpson's here, and he said he wants to meet you. I ran down the steps, and O.J. was down there, he was like, hey, yo, man, how are you? It's very good to meet you. Standing beside him, well, I don't know the nice way to say this, his soon-to-be slain wife. I should tell you that woman was very nice to me. She said, I think you're adorable. And she hugged me. She goes, good luck to you. And she held me for a long time. And I whispered in her ear, bitch, are you trying to get us both killed? The second time I met O.J. Simpson, I was in a restaurant in Beverly Hills with my agents. And suddenly, a group of women walked by. Every race was in that group. Black, white, Asian, Latina, white, and white again. They were all gorgeous. I watched them walk by. Then I saw a familiar face. O.J. Simpson, newly released from jail. The restaurant fell still. I was shocked. I didn't mean to say it out loud, but it just came out. O.J. He stopped, turned around to see who said it, saw my black face and correctly assumed it was me. I was sitting in the corner of the booth. He leaned over all the white people I was having dinner with and shook my hand. How are you, young man? He looked in my eyes, and I could see in his eyes that he didn't remember meeting me the first time. And then he walked away, and I looked back at my agents, and all of them had nothing short of disgust on their faces. And the only one with the courage to voice their disgust was a woman named Sharon, who used to represent me. How could you, she said. How could you shake hands with that murderer? I said, Sharon, with all due respect, that murderer ran for over 11,000 yards. Third time I met O.J. Simpson, I was playing a comedy club in Miami, the Improv. I don't know if you've ever been, but if you have, you'd know. The door for the green room is right on the stage. Can you imagine such a thing? If I walked out of the door of the green room, bam, I'm just right here. It's right from the dressing room. And I did that. I walked out, and the whole crowd was like, hooray! And I looked, ma'am, as close as you are to me. I saw him as soon as I came out. The juice. And I saw recognition in his eyes, and it filled me with pride that he knew who I was. I didn't acknowledge his presence because it was a white audience, and I didn't want to start a panic. But I did my show. Show went great. I said, good night, everyone. They all said, yay! And I didn't say nothing to OJ, but I just gave him the signal, let him know I knew he was there. And I walked into the green room, and OJ was already in there. I was like, how the f is this possible? I was scared. And then my friends came in, and we all started talking. We sat down on the couch. The conversation was filled with warmth and levity, humor, and wisdom. We talked for 90 minutes, and then suddenly the Jew said, you know what? I've got to be going. Thank you for your hospitality. Good night, guys. And we said, good night. And he just walked out of the room. And as soon as the door closed, we all looked at each other like, that did that shit. My father had died. He never lived to see me do it. And when he died, I was inconsolable. I thought I'd never smile or laugh again. And the only thing that got me out of that space was a comedian friend of mine, the late, great Norm Macdonald. And what Norm did, which I'll never forget, he knew that I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. And he called me up and he goes, Dave, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, fuck Yes, I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. And the movie was called Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this. And in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. And Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. So much so that everybody on the crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and when he walked into the room where we were supposed to meet, I screamed, Jim Carrey! And everyone said, no! Call him Andy. And I didn't understand. And then he came over and he was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman. Just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hello. In hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed in one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. But as it was happening, I was very disappointed because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey and I had to pretend this was Andy Kaufman all afternoon. He was clearly Jim Carrey. I could look at him and I could see he was Jim Carrey. Anyway, I say all that to say, that's how trans people make me feel. Chris got slapped in the face at the Oscars by Will Smith, which was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen. In fact, if you watch it live on television like I did, when it happened, I thought it was fake. I did. And I wasn't sure. So you know what I did? I waited, because I'm like you, I know Chris. I waited like 30, 40 minutes, as long as it would take him to get to another party. And I called him on FaceTime, and he picked up. So I asked him, I go, well, you know. He said, what? I said, well, did it hurt? And he said, yes, it hurt. And then I knew that it was real. And then, and only then, was I offended. And I wasn't just offended that he got slapped. That was only half of it. The real offensive part was that after he slapped him, this Will just sat down and enjoyed the rest of his evening. It was crazy. It was just... I couldn't wait to see what he was going to say in his special about this slap. And I toured him all year, but the night he taped his special, Chris was one of these guys that's crafty. You never know what he's going to say until he really says it. So I went to see him tape his special. He taped it right up the street in Baltimore. Now, you guys are from D.C., so you know about Baltimore. We all know that through the years, D.C. has been through some very, very tough times. Sadly, Baltimore is still in a very tough time. And Chris Rock went so hard in the paint, he shocked a Baltimore crowd. I didn't even know that was possible. I started doing comedy around here. Shocked them. And you know what he said that got him? I refuse to be a victim. And I was backstage looking like, watch the tape. Everything's funny until it happens to you. A mere 3 months after that terrible attack that Chris Rock endured, I was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and a lunatic jumped out of the crowd and attacked me. Now, I gotta tell you, if it happens to you, you don't even know what the fuck is happening. It was like slow motion. I just looked over. I don't know this thing. I just looked and said, oh my God, I'm being attacked. And this one was raggedy. He jumped at me. He was like, ah! Before that, I'd been making fun of Chris Rock. And people would ask me all the time. They'd say, Dave, what would you do if you were Chris Rock and Will Smith slapped you in the face? And to this day, the answer is the same. Well, I don't know what I would have done. I've never been in a situation that extreme, but I do know now what Will Smith would not have done. And that is enjoy the rest of his evening.
This is Chappelle showing why Trump could be the scariest president ever and how jokes turn fear into laughter.
Because I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, if you support him or not, any objective person is going to have to admit that this motherfucker is having a terrible go of it. We've had presidents before that have done bad jobs, but this shit is worse than a bad job. It's scary to watch. Holy shit, it's like seeing a crack pipe in your Uber driver's passenger seat. The fuck is wrong with this guy? I watched Donald Trump in a press conference, and this motherfucker had all the media gathered, and this literally asked the media to their face to stop finding shit out. I was like, yo, this motherfucker is bugging. And then, I'm not even making this up, his lips started sweating. His lips. Have you ever seen a motherfucker's lips sweat? What the fuck is wrong with his lips? It's like if you're on a plane, right? You ever been on a plane? I get scared to fly. I do it all the time. I be scared on there. And sometimes the plane will hit turbulence. And then I get nervous. But I always look at the flight attendant, and she looks calm. And it makes me feel calm. But if that bitch's lips were sweating, it's terrifying. Like, yo, why are your lips sweating? What do you know?
Watch Dave Chappelle reveal why Trump is so loved.
A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular. And the reason he's loved is because people in Ohio have never seen somebody like him. That first debate, I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged." Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama sitting over there looking at him like, "No, it's not." And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, what would be your evidence?" He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." I said, "God damn." And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, "This man doesn't pay his taxes." He shot right back. "That makes me smart. If you want me to pay my taxes, then change the tax code. But I know you won't, because your friends and your donors enjoy the same tax breaks that I do." And with that, my friends, a star was born. I was doing a nightclub in Oakland 16 years ago, and this is the first time that the trans community ever got mad at me that I knew about. And I was nobody. I just quit Chappelle's show. It was like a nothing hole-in-the-wall club, and I was doing some transgender jokes in Oakland. It was 16 years ago. My pronoun game was not as nice as it is today. I went too far. I said things like tranny and shit. I didn't know these words were bad, and a woman stood up and just gave me the business. Started screaming at me, and I'm sure it was a woman, but she kept calling me transphobic and all this shit. I'd never even heard these words before. It's really weird. I didn't trip. I just gave security the look like, get that Johnny and the movement. And then she went to the press, and the next day, one of the gay papers wrote all the same things she had said to me about me in the paper. Misquoted the jokes and was calling me transphobic. And again, all these words, I'd never heard them before. But every time that I talked with anybody from that community since, they always repeat the talking points from that article. My least favorite of which being, and I hate this phrase, they say I was punching down on them. The fuck does that mean? Now fast forward, it's 2019. I'm in a restaurant in Ohio. And to be honest, it's not a very nice restaurant, but it's a nice restaurant if you're a white person from Ohio that's never been anywhere before. Picture Chili's. I'm sitting at the bar, I'm having a drink by myself, and the only other person in the bar is a woman, a couple stools down. And she was alone, and she was older, and that made me feel sad because it was the holidays. So I told the bartender, send that woman a drink on me. She's trying to spread the cheer, and I wish I didn't. This woman wanted to talk. She wasn't mean, she was nice, but she just wanted to talk about shit that, the nigga that's trying to get drunk, don't want to hear about this bitch remodeling her bathroom, and I'm sitting there trying to be polite. "Oh, subway tiles, word." But then she hits a lick, piqued my interest. She says, "My daughter is coming home for the holidays." "Oh, that's great news. I'm glad you're not going to be alone." Then she goes on and on about how great her daughter is. I guess her daughter got a new agent, and she's out in Hollywood, she's in movies and on television and all this stuff. And as she's telling me this, I'm thinking, this woman is so sweet. She probably doesn't even know who I am or what I do for a living. Because I know what your daughter's out in Hollywood doing. And then she goes, "Would you like to see her picture?" "Oh, now I don't want to see this woman's picture, but what am I going to do?" I go, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the picture." And I grab the picture, and this is all I say. "Oh, she's very beautiful." And as she puts the picture away, she looks mean all of a sudden, like she caught me in some kind of trap. What does that face mean? And then she goes, "She's transgender." And I think to myself, oh, this does know who I am. They make you quarantine. I had to quarantine for 10 days at least. They said, "You're gonna have to stay in the room." I didn't go nowhere. And it started making me nuts because I would just sit in the room and watch videos all day. Now, you know what I was watching? And I hate to say this, but there was a lot of videos, sadly, of black people beating up Asians for no reason. Oh, these attacks were unprovoked. I couldn't believe it. And I was sitting in the room watching this shit. It was stressing me out. I was stressed already because the whole time when you get coronavirus, at least the first 5 days, you wait, see how sick you're gonna get. And it turns out, and this is true, I didn't get sick at all. Not a cough, not a booger, not a fever, nothing. Look at me. I am the Magic Johnson of coronavirus. I just sat in the crib and got stronger all week. But I was stressed because I kept watching these videos of my beloved black people beating up my beloved Asian people and being so cruel. And the whole time I watched those videos, this is fucked up, but I couldn't help but feel like when I saw these brothers beating these Asians up, it's probably what's happening inside of my body. I shot it in San Francisco at a place called Broadway Studios, which is on the second floor of a building. And beneath Broadway Studios is a nightclub. And the special was only supposed to be 30 minutes. And I got ready, I practiced, I did all the shit I was supposed to do. And the night that I taped, 20 minutes into my 30-minute set, music started blasting from the nightclub underneath. You could hear it real loud, and it fucked my whole show up, and I was devastated. I thought that my dream had been killed. So when I got off stage, I ran down the steps to the alley behind Broadway Studios, and I kicked that motherfucking door open, and I started yelling at all the producers. I was nobody in show business. I said, man, so you f***ed everything up. That fucking music, what the f*** were you thinking? And there was a guy who was a big-time producer. And he stood up. He said, hey, kid, sit the f*** down. We didn't ruin anything. We made a deal with that nightclub to not play music, and they didn't honor the deal. And I said, who didn't honor the deal? And he pointed to a guy. I'll never forget it. It was an old white man sitting in the Ford Taurus by himself. And I didn't waste no time or ask no questions. I went to that Ford Taurus and I beat on that window and I said, open the door, motherfucker. I want to talk to you. And that old man looked at me for 1 second and wisely drove the fuck off. Aren't you that from Empire? Does that sound like how white people talk? No white people. They don't talk like that. Are you that faggot nigga from Empire? They would never say that. It sounds like something that I would say. If you're racist and homophobic, you're not even gonna know who this is. You can't watch Empire. Black people never feel sorry for the police, but this time we even felt sorry for the police. Can you imagine if you was a police veteran taking this kid's police report? Okay, Mr. Smouillet, please tell me what happened. All right, you were 2 a.m. You left the house at 2 a.m. It's minus 16 degrees. All right. You were walking. You were walking. All right. And where were you going? Subway. Sandwiches? That's when the men approached you? Did you see them? Do you have any? Okay, what they have on? MAGA hats. MAGA hats on in Chicago. Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Smouillet. Frank, come here for a second. Find out where Kanye West was last night. Such a fucking outrageous story. He said they put a rope around his neck. Has anyone here ever been to Chicago? Tell me, how much rope do you remember seeing? Who the fuck is carrying rope? Like, when did you get mugged? In 1850? Who's got rope?